Hi everyone, my name is Melinda Moreno from the Excellence Realty Tech Support Department. And today I'm going to show you how to use the Excellence Title Estimate tools. And I'm also going to show you and discuss with you all the software features. And before we get started, let me first let everyone in the meeting. And I would appreciate it if you could let me know if you can hear me and see my screen as well. Feel free to let me know by sending a message through the Zoom chat here in Zoom. All right. And I would also like to disclose to everyone that I am not a real estate agent, title agent, or mortgage broker. The purpose of this class is mainly to show you how to navigate the system and provide some tips as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the Excellence Title System is essentially an estimating tool that Excellence Title provides to you, so you do not have to manually calculate title fees. And to be able to access the tool, there are several ways to do so. All right, so one way is if you're here on our website, excellencerealty.com, just go ahead and click Title and Escrow here at the top, and that's going to take you to the tool. All right, and it's going to be called, let's wait for it to load here. All right, so when you click on Title and Escrow, it's going to take you to the website of Excellence Title. And once you're there, just go ahead and click on Login on the top right corner. And that's going to take you to the tool, and it's going to be called excellencetitle.titlecapture.com. Or if you're here in Realty Back Office, just go ahead and scroll down. So on the dashboard, just scroll down to favorite links and vendors, and just click on Excellence Title, which is going to route you to their website. And then from there, just click on Login on the top right corner. So let's go back to the login page of excellencetitle.titlecapture.com. So on the login page, you can create a title quote without having to sign in. Just click it right here. All right, so right here, you'll be able to do a title quote or a loan estimate quote. Let's go back to the sign-in page. And if you do not have an account yet for this tool, just go ahead and click right here to sign up for free. And just go ahead and put in your email, the password, the first name and last name, and the company name, which is Excellence Realty. And then, of course, you're going to choose that you're a real estate agent and click sign up. Let's go back to the sign-in page. All right, so let's go ahead and log into this tool. Let me put in the password. All right, so once you're logged in, you'll be able to see the types of estimates that you can do with this tool here at the top. So with this tool, you can do seller net sheets, buyer estimates. So the seller net sheet, this is an estimate that you can provide to sellers on the day of your listing presentation. Or maybe if you like to do a buyer estimate, which you can provide to buyers, giving them an estimated breakdown of the closing costs involved to purchase a property, so they can have an idea of how much the money they would need to bring on the day of closing. And then right here, all estimates, just go ahead and click on the drop menu, and then you'll be able to see all of these other estimates here that are available. So maybe you want to do a monthly affordability estimate if you're working with a buyer that is searching for a house to buy, but they are not pre-qualified yet for a loan, and you want to help them know the purchase price that they can afford. Then you can go ahead and use the monthly affordability estimate for that. Or maybe the rent versus buy estimate, which is an estimate that you can use when you are working with a client who is currently renting and they are looking into the option of buying a property. All right, so let's see what else we have here on the main page. So down here, we have the attorney our attorney Paul Sardone from Xcellence Title. Feel free to reach out to him for any attorney-related questions. Also, guys, when you log into this system, please do not forget to click on the circle on the top right corner. So when you click there, just go ahead and click on profile so that you can add all of your contact information on this page. Just go ahead and add all of your details. And then once you're done, just click on update info here at the bottom. And you can also add upload your photo, and you can do so right here under photo. Just go ahead and upload your photo here. Click on choose file and then click update photo so that the photo will appear on the estimate along with your contact information. Additionally, if you click on the circle, you also have default cost here available so that you could add the numbers that you often use so that it auto populates for you. So please note that these default costs will apply to these estimate types only. All right, so now that we have discussed each section on this tool, let's go ahead and try to do a seller net sheet together. All right, but before that, so again, this is Xcellence Titles information. And you can also share this platform via email or through social media. All right, so let's go ahead and begin with the seller net sheet. So this estimate is going to be very useful. It's going to be very helpful on the day of your listing presentation. This is going to provide the sellers with the net proceeds on how much they will be receiving on the day of closing after they pay all of the closing costs and real estate commission. So let's go ahead and type in the property location. So just start typing it in. So let's say 4700 and 107th Avenue. So when you see it in the drop menu, just go ahead and select it. And we're going to put in the purchase price of 300,000. All right, so now let's go to the closing date. So for the closing date, by default, it's going to give 30 days. But of course, you can change the date. And let's go ahead and change it to 45 days, since deals can be anywhere between 30 to 45 days. But typically, 45 days is a good starting point. So let's go ahead and go to the date calculator here. So if let's go ahead and click right here, add days. So let's put today's date, which is the 21st of July, 2021. And we're going to add 45 days. And let's go ahead and calculate this. All right, so it's going to give us September the 4th, but that is a Saturday. And banks and title companies are going to be closed on a Saturday. So let's go ahead and move that to the next Monday, which is September the 6th. So let's go back to the estimate. And right here, we're going to put September the 6th right here. All right, so the next one is going to be this one here, additional transaction details, who pays for title insurance. So this one here is negotiable between the parties. You can choose from any of these. If the cost is going to be split between the parties, or if it's the buyer or the seller. So for this example, we are going to choose seller, since we are trying to generate a seller net sheet so that the seller can see the fees just in case there's an offer on the table and the seller is paying for the title insurance. That way the seller can have an idea of how much the fee will cost prior to accepting the offer. So let's proceed to endorsements here. So no need to worry about this, it's already pre-filled. So let's move on to the next item, which is mortgage payoffs. So right here, just go ahead and type in the payoff loan amount if the seller has a mortgage that needs to be paid off. So we're going to put $200,000 for the example. And if there's a second loan, you can also type it in here. So let's go ahead and put in a second lien of 5,000. All right, real estate broker commissions, you can add them here. You can choose either percentage or a dollar amount, and it's going to be on both sides. So typically, this is going to be 3% or 2.5%. But for example, we are going to use 3%. And then for transaction fee, Excellence Realty charges a $300 transaction fee per transaction to the consumer on the day of closing. So if you charge the fee to your client, you can add that amount here. And if you did not charge the $300 fee to your client, please note that the fee will be deducted from your commission. So in this example, we're going to add it right there, $300. Homeowners Association dues. All right, so if the property has an association, you can add the payment amount here so that it can get transferred to the estimate. You can choose when the association fees are going to be due. So for this example, we're going to choose monthly. And we do have a monthly payment of $100, for example. All right, and then right here, you can choose to say if it's yes or no, if the seller paid the current month's dues. So in this example, we're going to say no, because typically the seller will not pay the dues and the association fee will be prorated. And then we have resale certificate and transfer fees. So these are fees that some associations might charge. If the association does not charge the fee, then of course, just go ahead and leave them blank. You can inquire with the community if they have any fees that they charge. And if they do, just go ahead and enter the amount here. So let's proceed to property taxes. All right, so just go ahead and type in the annual property tax amount in this field. So for this example, we're going to put 3,600. Other seller expenses and credits. So if you need to add any seller expenses and credits, you can do so here in this section. Just enter any additional items, for example, a charge to the seller or a credit to the seller. And if there's no additional fees, and then of course, let's go ahead and leave this blank. And let's go ahead and calculate the seller net sheet. All right, so now the system has generated the estimate to see how much net proceeds the seller is going to receive on the day of closing. So once the estimate is generated, you can make a flyer out of the estimate. So just click right here, flyers, and you can use any of these flyers. And let me go ahead and show you how the flyer will look like. So we have these three. So let me show you that, those flyers. So this is one, top reasons why you may want to sell your home. This is another flyer, why hire a listing agent. And then your information will be right here. And then this is the other flyer that's available. And it's talking about the tax consideration. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the estimate. And you also have the option to download the PDF, which is branded with Xcellence titles information and your contact information as well that you can share with your clients on the day of your listing presentation. And that PDF is going to look like this. All right, so this is a sample seller net sheet. Your information is going to be down here. Xcellence titles information will be here, and it gives you the breakdown of the closing costs. Let's go back to the estimate. So yeah, don't forget to add your photo and your information so that it appears on the PDF. So here at the top, we also have these options, so the other options that are available. You can also save the estimate. So when you click save, it's going to be right here under save. You can also email the estimate or edit the estimate. You can also click on show more for a quick summary of the estimate. And then down here, as you can see, this is the amount that the seller will receive on the day of closing after paying all of the closing costs. And then down here, the settlement fee is going to be based on the location of the property. So for South Florida, from the Florida Keys to West Palm Beach, the closing fee is going to be, with Xcellence title, is going to be $695. But past West Palm Beach and for the rest of Florida, the closing fee is only going to be $495. And then we have owner's title insurance. So this is going to calculate the title insurance policy automatically if you choose the seller. If the buyer is going to choose a title company and they're going to pay for their own title insurance policy, then no need to worry about the amount here. But you still want to include it on the estimate so that the seller can see the fee just in case they're going to be paying for that. And then we have recording and transfer fee. So this is going to be the fee that the county will be charging where the property is located to be able to transfer the title. And then we have the payoff loan amounts here, the breakdown of the commissions on both sides, as well as the transaction fee that Xcellence Realty charges. Is also going to calculate the prorated amount that the seller is going to be crediting the buyer on the day of closing for property taxes. And it's also going to prorate the homeowners association fees if there's any. And then for other seller expense and credits, if, for example, the seller needs to give the buyer a credit at closing, it will show in this section as well. All right, so that's how you generate the seller net sheet. And also note that you can use the seller net sheet for vacant lots and land with no assigned address. Just go ahead and use the property address closest to the lot or land, and the fees are going to be charged according to the city. All right, so now let's go ahead and proceed with the buyer estimate. All right, so let's go ahead and click right here, buyer estimate. So this estimate can be provided to the buyer so they can have an estimated breakdown of the closing cost involved in purchasing a property. And this estimate will provide the buyers with an estimated amount on how much they would need to bring on the day of closing. So let's go ahead and start here with the property location. Just go ahead and enter the property address that the client is thinking of buying, and then select it from the drop menu. So let's do the same address, 4700 107th Avenue. Then select it from the drop menu. The transaction type, just go ahead and choose the transaction type. Is the buyer going to purchase the property using financing, or is the buyer going to pay in cash? So for this example, we're going to choose purchase with financing. And then we have the loan type right here. Just go ahead and choose the loan type. Is it going to be the conventional loan, VA, or FHA? FHA, this is going to be the home loan for first-time buyers, which has a 3.5% minimum down payment. So for this example, we're going to choose conventional. And then we're going to type in the sales price of 300,000. And then we're going to have a down payment. So by default, the down payment is going to be 20%. So just go ahead and change that. And we're going to change it to 5%. And then it's going to automatically calculate the loan amount here for you. And down payment. Now we're going to have the loan term right here. Just choose from any of these. And for this example, we're going to choose 30 years. And then for the interest rate, this is going to say 4.25 by default. But of course, you can also change that. So let's go ahead and change that to 3%. And for the interest rate, if the buyer has any questions regarding the current market's interest rates, please feel free to provide them with the contact information of Xcellence Mortgage. All right, so let's proceed to the closing date. So we're also going to extend this to 45 days from today's date, which is going to be the September the 4th. But since it's going to be a Saturday, we're going to move it to the 6th of September. All right, so who pays for title insurance? If it's the buyer or the seller. All right, so, or if it's going to be divided equally between the two parties. So for this example, we're going to choose buyer since we're creating the buyer estimate so that the buyer can see how much it will cost for the title insurance. So no endorsements, no need to select this. It's already selected for you. So just proceed to home insurance. Just go ahead and type in the annual home insurance amount, which is the amount of the policy for the whole year, taking into account the 4-point inspection and the wind mitigation reports that you're going to provide to the insurance company so they can give you a quote. So for this one, we're going to put 3,000. And please also inform that the buyer, please also inform the buyer that this is going to be an estimate. So let's say 3,000. And then we have property taxes right here. So just go ahead and enter the annual property taxes, which can be obtained from public records. We're going to say 3,600. Real estate broker commission. So Xcellence Realty, the brokerage fee that Xcellence Realty charges is $300. So if you're charging the fee to the buyer, please enter it here. If not, then please note that the charge or the fee is going to be deducted from your commission. And then we have homeowners association dues. Type in the homeowners association due if there's any, and then choose the frequency right here. So let's say monthly, and we're going to say $100 monthly payment, and then answer the question right here. So even though the seller says that they paid for it, always choose a no for this question so that it shows on the estimate in case the closing is in the next month. And in that month, let's say the seller did not pay for the association dues, then at least it's going to appear on the estimate. So just say no. If it's a single family home with no homeowners association, then no need to worry about this section. Let's proceed to this section here, impounds. All right, so we're going to be discussing impounds, and impounds is essentially a terminology that is used in the system, but the correct name should be prepaids. So this is basically referring to prepaids, which are fees that the buyer would need to pay in advance on the day of closing. For example, homeowners insurance and property taxes. So for this example, we are going to determine the number of months to put for property taxes and home insurance. All right, so I do have a chart here that let's go ahead and use the chart. For our discussion on prepaids for property taxes. So this chart is going to show us all of the months in a year, so it's easy for us to see how many months would need to be collected for prepaids. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. All right, so in this example, the 2020 taxes for this property is 3,600 with a closing date of July the 15th, 2021. The first mortgage payment is going to be on September the 1st because typically the bank is going to provide the buyer anywhere between 30 to 45 days from the closing date of no mortgage payments. So for this example, there are no mortgage payments from July the 15th to the 31st and for the entire for the entire month of August. And the next mortgage payment that the buyer will pay is on September the 1st. And October the 1st, and so on. But don't forget that the property taxes are due in November. So the buyer must have enough money in the escrow account for the mortgage servicer to be able to pay for the property taxes when the payment is due. With that said, let's go ahead and use the calculator here. And by the way, guys, for any of your questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And Emily Fernandez is with us, and she's going to help you with the questions. Let me go ahead and pull up my calculator here. Let me X out of here first. All right, so on the calculator, we're going to put 3,600, which is the property taxes right here. Then we're going to divide this by 12 months. And that's going to equal to this amount right here, which is the amount per month that needs to be collected before the taxes are due. So since the property was purchased on the 15th of July, the sellers provided the buyers with credit from January 1st, 2021 to July the 15th, which is about 6.5 months worth of credits that the buyer can use to pay for the property taxes that are due in November. So with that said, let's now go to the date calculator. And here we're going to use the date to date calculator, and we're going to enter January the 1st, 2021 to July the 15th, 2021. Let's go ahead and calculate this. And that's going to give us a total of 195 days. So now let's go ahead and enter on the calculator 3,600 for the property taxes divided by 365 days. So let's go ahead and type that in. Hold on. All right, so 3,600 divided by 365 days. And that's going to give us this amount right here. Now let's go ahead and times that daily amount with 195 days. So times 195. All right, so that would then give us this amount right here. And if we round off this amount, it's going to give us 1,923 and 29 cents. And that is the amount that the seller credited the buyers on the day of closing. So here on the chart, we know that the first mortgage payment is going to be on September the 1st. And that will give us an additional 300 for September and another 300 for October. And we know that the taxes are going to be due in November. So with that said, let's go back to the calculator and add those amounts. So from here, we're going to add 300 plus another 300 for the month of October, which will equal to this amount right here that the buyer now has to pay for the property taxes. But remember, the annual taxes are 3,600, which means that the buyer will be short in money to pay for the taxes. So let's go back here to the calculator. And now we're going to minus this. And then we're going to put 3,600. And that's going to give us this amount right here. So from here on the calculator, let's go ahead and type that in again. Let's put it on the calculator, $1,076.71. And divide that by $300, which is the amount for the monthly taxes. And that's going to give us this amount right here. So now we know that the buyer is short by this amount of months. So having said this, the lender is probably going to round it up and collect 4 months in advance for property taxes to be on the safe side. So now let's go back to the estimate. And we're going to put 4 months under county taxes down here. And that's how you determine the number of months to add in the county taxes field for prepaids. All right, so we're done with the county taxes. So now let's go ahead and calculate the number of months for the homeowner's insurance. So for homeowner's insurance, the amount has to be paid upfront by the buyer for the entire year, plus the prepaid amounts that the lender will collect for the following year. So let's get the calculator, and we're going to put 3,000, which is the amount the buyer is going to pay for the policy upfront for the whole year, which is from July the 15th, 2021 to July 14th, 2022. All right, so in this example, since there was no mortgage payment for July the 15th to July the 31st, as well as the month of August, the first mortgage payment will be due on September the 1st. So now we're going to count from September, all right, all the way to June. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be 10 months, which the buyers paid for homeowners insurance, which means the buyers are going to be short by 2 months. And that's the number that we will put under home insurance under impounds for prepaids for the home insurance. So let's go ahead and type in 2 for 2 months. And that's how you calculate the number of months for homeowners insurance prepaids. Additionally, even though we calculated 2, the lender will probably want to collect 3 months instead to have the extra money in the escrow account so that the buyer did not have a shortage. But just always let the buyer know that this is an estimate and that the lender is the one that's going to calculate these numbers. So remember, guys, it's very important to calculate this portion of the estimate in pounds so that the estimate is not short. And when you give the buyer the estimate, it will include the prepaid amounts. And if you need any assistance in obtaining a buyer estimate, please feel free to reach out to Xcellence Mortgage so they can assist your client. All right, so we've completed impounds. Let's scroll down and let's go to lender fees. So if the client is working with Xcellence Mortgage, the buyer should receive a breakdown of the mortgage fees. So you can enter them here in this area. But of course, if the buyer is using a different lender, then you can get the estimate from them. So you can enter the information here. With a lender origination charge, Xcellence Mortgage does not charge a lender origination charge because we only charge a processing fee. So for this example, we're going to leave it blank. And let's proceed to appraisal. And for property appraisal, Xcellence Mortgage charges $550. So let's go ahead and change this to $550. Credit report. This fee is the amount that the lender charges to run the credit. So for example, let's say it costs $30 every time the lender runs the credit. And let's say it's a husband and wife. So that will be $60 to run the credit reports. And the lender might charge the fee 2 times per person since the lender will run the credit at the time of taking the loan application and right before the loan closes. So with that said, let's go ahead and type in $120 here for credit report. The tax service fee, this is typically $120. So this can be up to $120, but it's different per lender. Flood certification. So this amount is going to depend on the lender, but let's say it's $8 because that's the amount that Xcellence Mortgage charges. And this is the processing fee that Xcellence Mortgage charges, $7.95. For the underwriter fee, this is also different per lender, but let's say that it's $9.95. And then the prepaid interest is going to calculate automatically. Other fees. So under other fees, if there are any other charges that need to be added to the estimate, just go ahead and type it in right here. So for now, we're going to leave it blank. Then the last item would be other buyer expenses and credits. So right here, Are there any other expenses that the buyer has to pay or any credits that are given to them? So for example, maybe there's a buyer's credit of $2,000 to reduce the buyer's cost. You can enter that information here. For now, we're going to leave it blank. Now let's go ahead and click calculate. All right, so we now have the buyer estimate. You can click on show more for a quick summary of the estimate. You have the same options here at the top. All right, so this is the estimated amount that the buyer would pay at closing. And this is the monthly total. This is going to be the estimated monthly mortgage payment with the breakdown right here. So for PMI, this is going to depend on the client's credit. If they have Xcellence credit, then their PMI can be lower. And so for the PMI, please note that this can fluctuate, as well as home insurance due to the 4-point inspection and wind mitigation reports. And property taxes will also change once the county reassesses the property value. And it's always best to provide the buyer with a tax estimator, which you can obtain from the county or the city that the property is located in. Let's go ahead and scroll down. So down here, we have the breakdown of the amount due at closing. So the down payment is there, the lender fees breakdown is here, title cost, render recording and transfer, property taxes, the fee that Xcellence Realty charges, homeowners, and the prepaid section. All right, so that's how easy it is to fill out the buyer's estimate. Now let's go ahead and discuss how to fill out a title quote. So let's go ahead and get a new tab here. Let's see. All right, so for the title code, just go ahead and click all estimates. And one of the options there would be the title quote. All right, click right here and select title quote. So this is an estimate that is going to provide you with a quote for buyers and sellers, which will only calculate the title fees. So let's start here in property location. We're going to use the same one, 4700 107th Avenue. Just go ahead and select it from the drop menu there. Transaction type, we're going to say purchase with financing. The purchase price is going to be the same amount, 300,000. For the loan amount, just go ahead and add the amount here. So let's say we're financing with a 95% loan. So let's use the calculator. Let's go ahead and put in 300,000 times 0.95. And that's going to give us the loan amount of 285. So just go ahead and type it in here. All right, perfect. Who pays for title insurance? So let's go ahead and select seller. Endorsements, no need to select this, it's already pre-filled. Let's go ahead and calculate this title quote. All right, so as you can see, it gives us a breakdown on both sides of the transaction, just in case you're working with a buyer and a seller at the same time. And of course, you can present this estimate to them so they can see the title fees. The closing fee for Xcellence title, please note that it's going to be $695 for South Florida only. Past West Palm Beach, the fee is going to be $495. And it's also going to calculate that for you automatically based on the property address. All right, so we're done with the title quote. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next one that we're going to discuss, which is going to be the monthly affordability estimate. Click on the drop arrow here and select monthly affordability. And the monthly affordability, you can use this estimate when you are working with a buyer that is searching for a house, but they are not yet pre-qualified for a loan, and you want to help them know what purchase price they can afford to buy at. All right, so we have the monthly payment goal here. Just go ahead and enter the amount that the buyer would like to have as his or her monthly payment. So for this example, we're going to type in 2,000. Property location, just go ahead and type in the property that the buyer is interested in, and then select it from the drop menu. So let's say 4700 107th Avenue, and then select it from the drop menu there. For the loan type, just go ahead and you choose the loan type. If it's going to be conventional, VA, or FHA. So for now, we're going to choose conventional. For the down payment, so by default, it's going to say 20%, but let's go ahead and change that to 5% with an interest rate of 3%. And we're going to have the loan term of 30 years. The closing date, let's go ahead and change this to 45 days from today's date. And that's going to be September the 4th, but since that's a Saturday, let's push it to the 6th. Who pays for title insurance? So since this is a monthly affordability estimate, let's go ahead and choose buyer. So no need to worry about endorsements. So just go ahead and proceed to home insurance. So under here, enter the amount for the home insurance per year. So let's go ahead and put in 3,000. Property taxes. So under property taxes, enter the annual property tax amount. For example, 3,600 HOA. If there's any homeowners association dues, go ahead and type it in here. Let's go ahead and put one for $100 per month. We're going to say no. All right, so here we have the prepaid section, which is in pounds. And we're going to enter the amounts from our last example so that the buyer has a cushion inside the escrow account for property taxes and home insurance. So let's enter 2 months under home insurance, and then 4 months for county taxes. All right, so remember, it's best to fill out this section for in pounds so that the estimate is not going to be short and the buyer gets a proper estimate of all the closing items. Let's go ahead and proceed to lender fees. So just go ahead and enter the information if it's a different lender. So if it's going to be with Xcellence Mortgage, then they do not charge any lender origination charge because they only charge a processing fee. Then their appraisal fee is going to be $550. Credit report, we're going to use the same amount, 120 for 2 people. And their credit reports are being run twice. And then the tax service fee, this can be up to $120. Xcellence Mortgage charges $8 for a flood certificate. And this is Xcellence Mortgage processing fee. For the underwriter fee, let's say it's $9.95. We're going to leave this blank. And this section here, we're also going to leave it blank. But if there's any other expenses that the buyer has to pay or any credits that are given to them, you can enter that in this section here. So right now, we're going to click calculate. So for any of your questions, guys, don't worry. Emily Fernandez is with us and she's going to help you with any questions. All right, so now we have the monthly affordability estimate. So this is going to be the monthly total, which is saying that if the buyer wants to pay $2,000 a month, then the buyer has to purchase a property for this amount right here or below. So basically, the buyer can qualify to purchase a property for up to this amount for a monthly payment of $2,000. So for the PMI, this is going to be determined by how good their credit is. If they have a good credit, then they will qualify for a low PMI. And if they have bad credit, then the PMI might be higher. So just make sure to get the estimates from the lender. And note that the estimate will change depending on the property taxes, insurance, flood, HOA, and PMI. So down here, if we scroll down, we have the breakdown of the amounts due at closing per category as well. So lender fees, title costs, recording and transfer, property tax and HOA, prepaids, and other buyer expenses and credits. All right, so there you have it, guys. So we have generated the monthly affordability estimate. Now let's go ahead and do the next estimate that we're going to be completing, which is the rent versus buy estimate. Just go ahead and click right here and choose rent versus buy. And rent versus buy is an estimate that you can use when you are working with a client who is renting and they're looking to purchase a property. So this estimate is going to provide your client with the information that they need to be able to see the difference financially between renting and buying to see if it makes more sense for them to buy or continue renting. All right, so we do have current monthly rent right here. Just go ahead and put in the current monthly rent. So let's go ahead and say it's $2,000. Property location. Just go ahead and put the property that the buyer would like to buy. Well, that's going to be the potential property that the client would like to purchase. So let's say it's the same one. Select it from the drop menu. For the property purchase price, just go ahead and put in the amount. Let's see here. All right, just go ahead and put in the amount of the property that the buyer would like to buy. So let's say it's 300,000. The loan type, we're going to say conventional with a 5% down payment. So that's going to be a loan amount of 285,000. The interest rate, so this would depend on the person's credit. So just make sure to talk with Xcellence Mortgage or the lender you're working with to get the buyer pre-qualified to be able to get the exact numbers. So for this example, let's go ahead and change this to 3%. We have a loan term of 30 years. Rent appreciation. So for rent appreciation, we're going to put 3%. And then rent insurance, this is typically $500 or $700 a year. But for right now, we're going to leave it blank. Annual price appreciation, we're going to say 3% for this one. Since the cost of living typically goes up by 3% every year. And then let's go to buyer's income tax rate. So we're going to put in 22% for this example. So let's say that's the tax rate from the buyer's tax returns. And then we have the estimated closing date. Let's go ahead and change this to 45 days from today. which is going to be September the 4th. But since that's a Saturday, we're going to push it to the 6th. Home insurance, let's put 3,000. Property taxes, we're going to have the same amount. Let's go ahead and use the same amount, 3,600. HOA. All right, so let's go ahead and say that the property has an association and has a monthly payment of $100. All right, so we again have the impound section. So again, this is going to be for prepaids. So remember, it's better to have an additional amount than to be short on the estimate. So with that said, please go ahead and fill out this section for prepaids. And we're going to add the same figures for homeowners insurance, which is 2 months, and 4 months for county taxes. So that's going to be the number of months and reserves that are going to be collected in advance. Let's scroll down and let's complete lender fees. For lender fees, you can get all of this information from the loan officer. But let's say you're working with Xcellence Mortgage, and if that's the case, then there's not going to be a lender origination charge. So that's going to we're going to leave this blank. We're going to type in 550 for property appraisal. Credit report, let's change this to 120. Tax service fee of 120. Xcellence Mortgage charges $8 for the flood certificate. And this is their processing fee. The underwriter fee, let's go ahead and type in $9.95. And then the prepaid interest is going to automatically calculate for you. So let's leave this one right here blank, and let's go ahead and click on calculate. All right, so we now have the rent versus buy estimate. So we have this line chart here, which is basically saying that it is cheaper for the client to buy rather than continue renting after 5 years, with the red line right here superseding the blue line, which is for buy, and the red one is for rent. So with this, the client will be able to save a lot of money if he or she opts to buy the property. So right here, this is going to be the amount that's going to cost them to buy. And this is the one for rent in that period of time. You also have your breakdown of the total monthly costs here and the amounts due at closing. All right, so that's the rent versus buy estimates. And those are some of the estimates that you can generate very easily using the system to make it very easy for you to calculate the fees, so you don't have to manually calculate them yourself. And by the way, you can also add this system to the home screen on your phone. So just go ahead and let me go ahead and show you the screenshot that I have here. So if you're using Chrome, just go ahead and click on the 3 dots and then select add to home screen so that you have this system on your phone on the home screen. All right, remember Xcellence Title also makes it easy for you to submit a title order. And to do so on their website, just go ahead and click Submit Title Order. And then you're going to select Realtor. And then just go ahead and fill out this form with your information, property information, and the client's information, and upload the paperwork. And once you submit this, then Xcellence Title will create a file for you and start processing the request. Also, guys, let me also mention that you can close a transaction anywhere in the state of Florida with Xcellence Title. And you can also close a transaction even if it's out of state or even if it's out of the country, depending on the country. Excellence Title can send a remote closer to your client's home or their business location to make it easy for them to sign the closing documents. And don't worry about the charge for the remote closer because Excellence Title will cover the cost. Let's also go to their contact page. So right here on their contact page, you'll be able to see more information. You'll be able to see their direct number, their email, and this corporate address as well. And please go ahead and add them to the contract. If you scroll down, we also have the agent support contact information here. And we also have this button here. This one, just go ahead and click on the button. And Excellence Title makes it very easy for your client to make the escrow deposit online. So just go ahead and click on the button, or it's going to be here at the top as well, earnest deposit. So just go ahead and click on earnest deposit at the top. You can share the link with your clients. All right, and then the client is going to acknowledge that they're doing a purchase earnest deposit. They're going to say yes. And they're going to fill out this form and put in your name here and click submit. And on the next page, they would need to put in their bank account information so they can make the payment online. So with this option, you no longer need to meet the client for a check and go to the title company to drop off the check and have the client go to the bank and do a $20 wire transfer. All of those steps are going to be eliminated when you're using the services of Excellence Title. Just go ahead and share this link with your clients. Let's go back to their contact and request page. So if you scroll down, we also have more options here. So if you'd like to get an update about the title and the lien search, you can also have that option. Just go ahead and click on the buttons right here to get an update about the title and the lien search. You can do that via email or phone. And then you can also request for the escrow letter. Just go ahead and click on the button here and fill out this form and send a request to Excellence Title so they can email you the escrow letter. In case the deal is canceled, it's also very easy to request for the escrow release. Just go ahead and click on the button here and fill out this form, upload the release and cancellation, and send the request to Excellence Title so they could refund the money back to the client. All right, so another thing that I wanted to mention is that we do have our own internal communication platform that we use. It's called Xcellence Hub. And if you do not have access to this platform yet, please book your appointment with the tech support department so they can help you set up your Xcellence Hub account as well as download the app. So during that meeting, we're also going to help you access the have access to Xcellence, the Xcellence Marketing mobile app, and the Xcellence system, Xcellence Title system that we just discussed. So when you're here in Xcellence Hub, just go ahead and go to the menu, hover your mouse on the left-hand side if you're using the computer. And then down here, we have the Xcellence Realty support options available on the menu. If you have any questions for the support team or the office, please feel free to reach out to us via chat. You can also give us a call, or you can send us an email using these email support options. Or you can also meet with us through Zoom. If you have broker or tech support questions, just click on these two buttons and then choose the appointment type, and we'll be able to meet you via Zoom to help you with any of your questions. All right, so for any tools related questions, feel free to reach out to tech support. So let's say, for example, you need help with Xcellence Marketing, or maybe you need help with Realty Back Office on how to add a charge item or a payout item inside of the file. We can, tech support department will be able to help you with that. And then also here in Realty Back Office, but don't forget about the training and support button here at the top. And then you'll be able to see the support options available here as well. If you click on on-demand agent training, it's going to take you to this page where we have all of our resources. So let's say you missed a class or a webinar, don't worry because we store everything here. So everything's here. If you want to learn more about the contracts, feel free to watch these videos. All right, and maybe you want to learn about realtor training or realtor back office or excellence marketing. Title Tuesdays are also here. And our attorney, Paul Sardone, he's doing classes every other Tuesday discussing different topics. So feel free to watch these videos. They're going to be very helpful. All right. And then for any broker or contract related questions, feel free to reach out to broker support. Agent support would be for any membership or subscription questions. So maybe you want to change or update your information on your website. Agent support will be able to help you with that. Any commission related questions, the accounting support department will be able to help you with any commission related questions. All right. Any questions you might have, please feel free to uh, send it over here in Zoom through the chat. And Yamili Fernandez is going to be helping you with the questions. All right, let's see here. So we have a question about the flyer in Xcellence title. So let's say, for example, let's go back to the seller net sheet. All right, so right here, if you would like to make a flyer out of this seller net sheet, just go ahead and click right here, flyer. And then you can choose from any of these flyer options. So that's going to look like this. And let me go ahead and show you how that will look like. So the flyer is going to look like this. So this is one of the flyers. This is another flyer. And then your information is going to be right here. And then this is another flyer that's available. So after you make all of the estimates, just click right here where it says flyers. It's going to be available after you've completed the estimate. So we've completed the seller net sheet. So the flyers option is going to be there. Just click on flyers. And it's going to be right there as well for the buyer estimate and for all the other estimates that you will be completing. Well, this one doesn't have one. The monthly affordability has one, as well as the rent versus buy. All right, so any other questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. And Yamili Fernandez is with us, and she's going to be answering all of your questions. All right, but that's it for this webinar, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to class today. If you have any more questions, please type them in the chat box. So let's go ahead and give you guys a few more seconds for any other questions. All right, looks like there are no other questions that came in. So thank you so much again, guys, for coming into class today. And I hope you learned a lot. And I wish you all a wonderful day.